G'day guys, how we going? Well, here we are. We're back again for another chat with you guys. Wednesday night live. Greatly appreciate it. There's already a few guys on, which is great. But tonight's topic's going to be, a few of you have been certainly following what's been going on with the rebuild and the redesign of, the inside of the back by patrol. Well, now I've got a few sort of stats of how it's sort of going and how it sort of handles, and a few things going on with it. So we'll get into that as we go forwards. But if you're just tuning in for the first time tonight, Tim Bates is my name. Got a YouTube channel there, Tim Bates 4WD Adventures. Film all my trips and travels and that sort of stuff, and provide a lot of tips and hints and that sort of thing as we go along. So check out the channel; some pretty cool stuff going on there, and regular videos coming through. So it'd be good if you have a bit of a look. But already a few on there tonight already. So hopefully all good. You can hear me all loud and clear, which is always good to know. Make sure you can hear what's going on there. Leanne and Dave, how you going there, guys? Pilbara, thanks so much, guys, coming in tonight. Jeremy and Tyrone, Land Cruiser, Toyota, how you going there, guys? Ross, Mark and Stuart and Ash and Custom Camo, how you going there, guys? Good afternoon. Afternoon, mate. Where are you guys coming from? Coming loud and clear from Dargo. How good's that, Leanne's down there at Dargo tonight? How good's little Dargo? Righto, so let's get into this. So, for you guys that have been sort of following, it's been a fairly long process from the time I, pulled the seats out and went through all the process there with VIP roads and all that sort of stuff, get it all legal, then going through the rebuild and now getting the patrol to, to where it is today with all the new design and new layout, new bits and pieces I've got in. It's absolutely fantastic. I really love it. But it's going to certainly suit me going forward. And as I'm sort of going to point out here, one of the main reasons, well, pretty much the main reason that I've just designed it around that, the main reason why I've gone and did what I did, it's purely about reducing weight. A lot of us we all carry, a lot of gear, and, full drives are, fairly overloaded and that sort of stuff. We carry a lot of stuff, and I've been wanting to reduce some weight for quite some time. So my whole reason for doing this was purely to get a stack of weight out, and I have got a stack of weight out of it. So we'll get into this as we go forward. I've got a few notes here, as a few dot points, to sort of topics I sort of want to cover with going forward. But when I started this, well, before I did anything, right, before I actually pulled anything out, we've got some weighbridge scales just down the road here on the highway there, which we can use those. Now, I started out with full fuel tanks, fridge, all my camp gear, drawers, everything was all in the back of the patrol there. The only thing was probably missing was maybe a bit of food, to go away for a trip. There's about anything missing, but then it weighed in at 3,200 kgs. Now, that's a fair whack of weight, 3,200 kgs. With all the back seats and everything all in it. Now, the GVM in my vehicle is 3,030. So you guys do the sums. It's a little bit overweight. So this is why I've sort of gone the process and gone to the extremes that I have to get some weight out of it. So it's set on the scales then at 3,200 kgs, right? Now it's all finished, all done and dusted. I put it back on the scales again just the other day. Now, and that was with full fuel tanks too. That's the important thing. If you're going to weigh your vehicle, you must have full fuel tanks as well. So I had full fuel tanks, so that's 120 litres on board when I weighed it the first time at 3,200 kgs. I did it again, as I said, just recently, weighed it again, full fuel tanks, fridge and everything was in place. The only thing that wasn't in there was the 4 boxes, with my camp gear. Now, there's not a great deal of weight sort of in those 4 boxes. And it came in at 2,920. Now, that's a fair whack of weight out of it. So it came in at 280 kgs lower than what I started out with. And then, you throw the 4 boxes there and a bit of camp gear. There's certainly not 120, what have I got, 110 kilos of camp gear is going to go back in it. So for the first time in probably history, or with my vehicle anyway, it's now sitting under GVM weight. Now, the GVM, as I said, 3,030 is the GVM weight of my vehicle, and it's now sits in at 2,920, and then just with a bit of camp gear and stuff to go in it, I reckon she's still going to be sitting under that 3,030 GVM range. And how many of you guys actually know know where your GVM is, and that's a gross vehicle mass. Now, that's the number that your vehicle manufacturer puts on your plate. Now, if you're not sure where yours is, I know mine in my GU, and all GUs probably going to be the same. I've got a little plate inside the passenger door, just on the pillar there, and it's got all my figures there, and it's got my GVM number. So, these are numbers that you probably should have a look at. Yours might be under the bonnet. You just have to do a bit of a rat around if you've got a different vehicle and find it and see what that number says, because it's a pretty important number to sort of know what it is. And then, there's a number of these, these scales you can go around and put your vehicle on. So that's where mine came into, yeah. So I'm absolutely stoked with that sort of number. Ross, stop eating all those pies. But I tell you what, if I load her up with your pies, mate, yeah, she might put back over GVM. So I might have to cut back on a few pies, but we'll see how we go with that going forward. So yeah, look, the GVM number is a really important number. So guys, check out what yours says, and if you get the opportunity, chuck her on the scales and see what your vehicle comes in at. So that's that one. But now I'm going to get into just some of the differences that now it makes with getting 200 and plus kilos out of it. Braking is a big one. Hitting the brakes now and pulling it up, like, it was always still not too bad, even with all that weight that I had in it. But now, it's an amazing difference. This is still all on standard braking system. I haven't upgraded the brakes, haven't changed the discs and brake boosters and that sort of stuff. It's all still a standard Nissan braking system and works still good. But now the braking, pulling up with 200 odd plus kilos out of it, fair income, it makes an amazing difference with the braking side of it. And then this is a big one. Get hold of this, right? Now, my EGTs, when I'm cruising down the highway, before I did anything, we're sitting on exhaust gas temperatures. If you're not sure what that is, exhaust gas temperature, that's a temperature that's coming out the backside of the turbo. So it gives you reading there. Well, my EGTs were sitting around sort of that low to mid 300s, which is still pretty good. Not too bad numbers there, pretty low numbers. But now, just with taking the weight out of it, so getting that 200 plus kgs out of it, cruising down the highway now, the same bit of road at 100k an hour, it's now dropped the best part of 30 to 40 degrees. So it's now sitting around 300 degrees at that 100k an hour. Now you're probably thinking 30 to 40 degrees, it's probably not a great deal, but just purely because of the weight side of it, it's a massive drop. And then when you start saying, well, you put another year, 2, 3, 4 years on that motor, I tell you what, between 340 and 300 degrees is a massive, massive difference just with doing that. So it's certainly going to make a big difference going forward. But just catch up with some of you guys here. Stuart there, what do you got? Tried to buy full drive tyres. The COVID, yeah, look, they're all pretty hard to get hold of. Tyres are pretty hard to get hold of at the moment with all sorts of stuff going on. Tracy, I'm now excited about the Billy T. Well, I like the Billy T thing. It's all going pretty good, the old Billy T. But so we'll get on to that one. So that's so the EGTs is certainly a big one. Now I wasn't expecting that to get that sort of a drop out of the EGTs. So that's pretty cool there. And the other thing too, I've been thinking about for quite some time, before I even started this work, was getting a little 6x4 trailer, so I can do a couple of tip runs, and, green waste or whatever like that, go to the tip and back. Well, fair income, by the time I take my 4 boxes out, which they're a piece of cake, just unhook those and drop those out in 2 seconds flat, I've pretty much got enough room now. Just put a tarp in there, tarp it up, and I could get everything I'd get in a 6x4 trailer, fair income, I'd get in the back of the patrol easy now. So don't need a 6x4 trailer, if I want to go to the tip and do tip runs and all that sort of stuff. Australian Outdoor Man, that's great weight reduction. Yeah, look, it is, mate. It's a massive weight reduction there. Land Cruiser trailer in an accident, if you're over GVM, insurance not covered. Yeah, and that's what I mean, that you do need to be a little bit conscious of your GVM weights and and see what they say, because there could be some insurance implications and that sort of stuff going there. Greg, $29.50 for my rig, saying that I've improved my suspension now. $29.50. Not sure what rig you got there, Greg, but $29.50. That's a damn good number there. Adam, get the grinder out, then you'll lose some more weight. Now, I'm not going to go cutting the roof off and anything like that, or cutting the inner skins out of doors to get any more weight up. But I'll tell you what, I have got a couple more ideas yet where I reckon I could still. I'll see how we go down the track with it, but I can reckon I could still pull the best part of 80 to 90 kg still out of it, with a few changes under the bonnet and front end and whatever. But we'll see how we go at this stage. But at the moment, I'm happy, very happy where it is. Tracy, that's an enormous weight loss. Better than Jenny Craig, absolutely. Jenny Craig wouldn't get 300 kilos out of the patrol, that's for sure. Would be interesting as to how you find it driving the difference. Yeah, look, I've only done a little bit of off-road stuff, not a great deal, just making a couple of my recent videos, but I'm really keen to give it a good try out in the bush and see how it goes. But just that one day I went out the back of Lacola there and driving up Cheney's Bridge track, and oh man, it's just so light on its feet now. It's so different to drive, both on and off the road. So that's the other one there. And then with my camping gear, all of my gear, like some of you guys, probably most of you have seen the videos I've made now. I've got those 4 boxes there, but all of my camp gear is in those 4 boxes. And I've got my camp gear fair income. It's so down pat, it's ridiculous to what I take. And I only take what I need. And, and if you're trying to go through a bit of an experiment, to go through your camp gear and find out, what you do need and what you don't, a good way of trying that out is, it's probably going to take a little bit of work, but it could be worth the process. Just go grab some tape, electrical tape or sticky tape, whatever, and put a bit of tape around all your gear, everything. So everything's in your drawers or whatever, put a bit of tape around it. And for every time you use it, take that bit of tape off. And then when you get home, go back through your drawer system and leave the tape on. Go back through your drawer system and see what's still got tape on it. Go away for a few times, and maybe after sort of 2 or 3 times, if you're getting back and you still got some tape sitting on some of those items, well, maybe you might want to think twice about whether you really need to take that stuff. So there's a good little tip there for checking out to see what sort of gear you got and whether you need to take it or not. But yeah, look, my gear is so down pat. It's ridiculous to how much gear I take, and everything I use is all gets used, and every time I head out there. G'day, coming in from Queensland. That's pretty cool. Stuart, I haven't got a full fuel economy run yet because I haven't been able to do a full fuel economy run yet, but just from the numbers I'm sort of seeing with the gauge at the moment, I reckon there's going to be some big changes to that. I haven't done a big trip yet to really try that out, but now it's all finished, then I can really get in and get a good trip. So hopefully I'll have some fuel numbers in the next week or two and see how it's all going. Matty, I was going to add drawers, but after watching your vid about using tubs, that's the way I'm thinking about going now. My Ranger is 2.75 tonne with full fuel tanks, and don't want to add too much more before my camp gear goes in. And look, that's a great way you start to think like that, mate. Look, the boxes aren't for everyone. This is what you've got to work out. And as I've said in the videos when I was making these videos of my, the redesign there. You've got to make it. You've got to set your gear up to suit you and no one else. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of your setup. That's just fair income, totally irrelevant. You've got to set your gear up to suit you and for the sort of touring you like to go and do. And whatever anyone else thinks is totally and fair income irrelevant. So that's a good way of thinking, mate. 2.7, and you obviously know what your GVM is, so you've got a little bit there to play with, which is a good thing if you've got that going on there. Luca, where do you find the weigh bridges? I'd love to know how much my weights are. Not sure where you're based there, mate, but there's quite a few around. If you're ever heading down sort of East Gippsland way, down towards Lacola, we got 2. Well, I'm at Trafalgar, so there's 2 between Trafalgar and Yarragon, both sides of the road, and you just drive in. Doesn't cost you anything. Drive onto the plate, you'll get a readout will come out. come up above you just out through your windscreen there, and it'll tell you exactly what everything's weighing. But the best time to do it, if you can, is when you're heading away on a trip. So you've got full fuel tanks, full fuel, all your food's there, everything's going on, to get a really good picture, about what your vehicle weighs. And there's quite a few up and down the Hume Highway too, if you're heading up that way. You, again, just drive in and throw it on the plates there, the weigh plates, and make sure you got all four wheels sitting on the plates. And so you'll see that number come up out through your windscreen. So certainly well worth checking it out, well worth having a look at. Pot shot there. Where's he gone? He's gone. Ross, I'm going good, mate. Thanks very much for coming in tonight. Greg, how do you air your tyres up out in the bush? I've just got a little hand compressor, mate, that I just clip it onto my alligator clips. Just clip onto the second battery under the bonnet there, and just pump them up that way. Pretty simple, easy little setup. But yeah, works well. Jack, how you going there, mate? Showed me your setup, rear seats, and on Facebook a few days ago. Finally got out last weekend. Couldn't believe the difference it made driving the weight forward of the axles. And that's the other thing too, and that's spot on what you say there, which is another reason why I've changed my stuff around. Hang on, guys. I've moved, a lot of weight forward. So, the fridge now has got forward. The more weight you can get forward of the rear axle, so it's not hanging out over the back, changes the way your vehicle handles totally. It's amazing the difference just by moving some weight around. And again, not everyone can go, pulling back seats out and and that sort of thing. So, but it does. It changes the way your vehicle handles big time if you can move as much weight forward. If you're able to, get those seats out to be able to do that, it's certainly very, very handy thing to go and do, that's for sure. Jack, how you going, mate? Not to mention all the benefits once at camp. And that's the other thing too, with camp, I can just take the boxes out and, roll them off to camp. But the big one is, when I get home, I take all that gear out. Depends how often you guys go out camp and that sort of stuff. You can take your boxes out and that sort of thing. Adam, here we go. CB, what's your opinion on the rear bolt-in chassis call tower brace? Airbags necessary? Well, that's a very interesting topic, mate, because I've got a few things to say about that as well. But I've had sounds like you're a GU Patrol, pretty similar to mine. I've had the call towers braced on mine, and it is if you've got a GU Patrol, there's not many weak points, as much as 2 out of people don't want to probably hear this, but there's not any faults with the GU Patrol, but the coil towers in the GU Patrol is a big problem, particularly if you're doing what we do. You're loading them up, putting plenty of weight in them, and and driving it full drive and stuff. The coil towers seriously need to be looked at. There's a few bracing kits going on out there. I think Superior Engineering's got another one. They do a pretty good kit, but it's certainly 100% well worth looking at, because I found out the problem a few years ago where the first set of drawers a few years ago, I pulled them out to try and fix them. They were starting to break up, so I pulled them out. And as I pulled them out, there's a hump in the floor, and I thought, gee, that's doesn't look too good. So the rear coil was starting to punch its way through the floor, and that was from the coil towers failing. So I've had them all braced up now and solid as a rock. And but at that time too, it had airbags in it too. So whether that was potentially another problem, don't know. But if you got GU Patrol or anything, other vehicles with those sort of setups, definitely have a good look at your coil towers, and it's well worth putting a bracing kit in them. Patrol Adventures, Red Arc is the go. Digital heavy. I've got all Red Arc gear in my Red Arc gauges too, and they are fantastic. They are a bit pricey, but certainly great gear, that's for sure. Stuart, these public way bridges on the one side heading out to Officer. Yeah, there's one at Officer there too on the M1. Yep, the BP service stations too heading to Melbourne is free. They're all pretty much free. I don't know any you got to sort of pay for. But if you certainly see them, wouldn't go in there if they're, all the Vic Roads guys are there pulling trucks and stuff in. Probably not a good idea to roll in then, but you'll certainly see well before you get to them. They generally got big flashing signs and saying, they're open and all that sort of stuff. But if they're not open, 100% well worth dropping in, chuck them on the scales and see what sort of numbers you get. Simba Overland, how you going there? Love the setup, and you gave some updates on the knob. That's good. Thanks, mate. Wondering how you plan to tie down all those boxes. Don't they break? I'm not sure if you've seen the video there where, well, last two videos, those tie down points I've got for those boxes, and they feeding them, they aren't going to be pulling out of those tie down points that I've got there. And those boxes are as solid as a rock. They will not break at all with the straps that I've got. And I've got a big, thick, probably 1.5 inch strap going up over the top of them, and I crank that up, no worries at all. So they're not going to break, and certainly the tie down points, they're fantastic, which were the old bolt holes, for where my dicky seats used to go in, and they're absolutely fantastic. So, well, we're checking those out. Boom, nice setup. Just shows you don't need a big budget for a decent setup. And look, there's been quite a few comments on that, that whole setup with the boxes, the mesh, and the floor that I've put in, the carpet, a few tie downs, a few screws and bolts and nuts and bolts and things. You do that for under $900, the whole set caboodle. But as I say, that's the thing. But not everyone can go ripping seats out. But if you're in that position where you can, it's a very, very cheap setup, very, very effective. Simple, and sometimes simple is just the go. Simple just works. It's great. So that's what I like about it. I like all my gear. It's all pretty simple, and simple just works. So it works with me, no worries. Chad, and trying out reducing weight in the GU with the canopy. Going to get rid of the second spare tyre and reduce the clutter. Yeah, always got to think of reducing weight to improve drivability. And that's one thing I did too, and I've been driving around, with two spare tyres for ages, and now I've reduced that down, and they are very heavy item. Depends where you're going. Like I said, I've still got that swing away there and spare tyre. If I want to do, a trip Central Australia, something like that, well, I'll just chuck it back on and away I'd go with two spare tyres. Stuart, how you going there, mate? Have you heard any news about roads opening up? They closed a lot due to fires, or would be the best contact the roads. Always get to run it. Yeah, look, there is still quite a few closed at the moment, mate. If you jump on Parks Vic website or even just jump on Google and put, I think it's fire affected parks or something like that, you're bound to get a link to it, and you'll see everything that is shut around the high country. There's quite a bit. It's just pockets, here and there, but there's some major thoroughfares through, especially Mansfield through to Dargo, with that King Billy track. That's a major one that's shut through there. There's a number of pockets, so well worth checking out. But I think it's fire affected parks or something like that. You'll get a link to that. And Dargo High Plain Road, this is a big hot topic on social media at the moment. That's still closed until end of November and maybe even into December at this stage. So, need to think about that. Land Cruiser, I really wanted to Kmart rear bar, but with the extra weight of protecting the car once or twice a year, justifying, especially with everyday car. And I've got the Kmart bar on the back of mine, and that's the second one I've had. And the first one, I had a taxi run up the back of me, probably 8-something odd years ago now. And fair income, that bar was an absolute lifesaver. The taxi went under the back of my car as I was parked at traffic lights in Mansfield for a weekend, and about 6 o'clock in the morning up there on the highway just out of Croydon, and this taxi driver just went straight in the back of my car and without any brakes, and totally wrote the taxi off. And I drove away with just a cracked tail lights and bent the right hand side wing on the rear bar, and that was it. Now, I was expecting to get out and find the back of my car all caved in, but I tell you what, that bar then was an absolute lifesaver, and that's the only time it's been hit. But yeah, I know they're a bit heavy item too, but if I had the old plastic bar on at that stage, fair income, there would have been some major damage to the back of my patrol at that time. So yeah, that's the other thing I'll think about there. Dave 200, I have twin wheels on the back of my cruiser. Thinking of ditching one until I get the big trip to reducing weight. That's the sort of thing, you just got to wait up, mate. See, what sort of touring you're doing and where you're going. If you're going to head off into Central Australia, remote places, well, that's certainly where you'd be maybe looking to maybe throw a spare, that second spare tire on, as I've mentioned, and that's what I would do with mine. I'd chuck it back on if I was going to go around then, but just zip around the high country here, and and generally going away with someone who's got a Nissan Patrol, same stud pattern, that sort of stuff. Well, you can, if you really get desperate, if you've already done your spare and it's all buggered, well, there's generally always going to be someone who's got a spare coming through, or someone in your convoy. Yeah, you can pinch their spare just to get you out of trouble. So there's some other things there to think about as far as spares go. Elena, how you going there, mate? Thanks for that coming tonight. Ross, made my day seeing your setup. FJ Cruiser, and weight is an issue. Everything of mine is plastic boxes rather than drawer system, which is most seem to be about 40 to 70 kilos. And that's what they are, mate. They are around sort of that 40 to 70, even some a bit heavier than that. And I've had a few people sort of say to me, that I'll be interested to see how you go with your setup. After a few months with using the boxes and this sort of stuff, and some have even said, I bet can see you going back to putting drawers in. Well, I can tell you right now, there's no way knowing I'm going to put my drawers back in. There's not a chance I'm going to put anywhere between 50, 60, 70 kilos back in my car before I even put a knife and fork in it. That's just not going to happen. The boxes are fantastic at the moment, and feeding them, I'll just make them work, and I know they're going to work, so I'm more than happy with that. But there's no way knowing that I'm going to put drawers back in my Patrol and chuck an extra, as I say, between 50 to 80 kgs in it before I put a knife and fork in it. So, yeah, I'll be working with it, that's for sure. Southern before, how you going there, mate? Interior, very different, mate. Might take a bit to getting used to. Look, it is, and it probably will, but, I've had a couple of other comments saying that, that they've had boxes in the backs of their vehicles and they've gone back to drawers because, they found that, stuff in the bottom, they needed it and all sort of stuff. But as I said earlier, I've got my camp gear feeding them so down pat that the two bottom boxes will not be 100% needed at all during the day. Because, it's camp ovens and frying pans and that sort of stuff. I'm not going to need those for making lunches. And then the other box the bottom box had, air compressor and, my awnings and guy ropes and that sort of stuff. I'm not going to 100% need that at all during the day. So I'm not going to be having to rat through boxes to get those bottom ones out for making lunches. That's the only time I'm going to have to unstrap those boxes if I'm need to make a sandwich or something like that. And if I need to, going to be making a pie, just chucking a pie in the oven, well, I won't be unstrapping the boxes until I get to camp. So, and this is the thing, you just got to fit in, you've got to have a good look at your gear and just try and simplify it as much as possible. And the simpler you can make your gear, well, then, you're going to reduce the stack of weight one and to make it nice and easy to use when you're out there on the tracks. Sterling Gardens, what's going there, mate? Is a D-Max traction control close enough to good enough? I'm not really sure whether without diff lock. I'm not really sure about. I'm interested in try some of these modern vehicles with these traction controls. I'm not really sure, mate. I've got diff locks, front and rear in mine, and yeah, they are just fantastic. Darren, coming in from Benambra. Good on you, mate. Thanks very much for coming there. It's the other side of Omeo. Great location down there. Patrol adventures. I'll be passing over Weybridge in the morning. Yeah, look, mate, I'll be pretty keen to see what you think. Chuck on the Weybridge and weigh her up, mate, and see what she comes in. But as I said, make sure you chuck as much as your normal weight in as possible, and especially fill those fuel tanks up chockers, because that is the important one when it comes to working out your GVM. That's what your GVM's all geared around, with carrying full fuel tanks, all your gear, and passengers and all that sort of stuff. That's what it comes in at. So get as much weight in it as you possible when you chuck on the scales to get the most accurate sort of number it's going to chuck back at you. Greg got an aluminium roof rack. Yeah, look, I've got one of those, aluminium roof rack, which I'm about to change it, but you'll have to wait a bit longer for that one. Aluminium roof rack, yeah, it's there's a big difference in weight difference from aluminium to steel. That's for sure. Quarry, 4x4. You leave the miss behind to save a bit of weight. Well, if your wife likes to go, well, it's probably good to take them along. Aaron, what's your hat? I want one. Mine's good old Cooper, mate. Riverina is what this one is. Good old Riverina, mate. Plus, they're great hats, that's for sure. Big fellow, I use plastic tubs for storage. There you go, no one then plastic tubs. Pilbara, mate, how much does your roof rack weigh? I think the one I've got on at the moment, I think they're around about 32-ish, somewhere around there, low to mid-30s. And the one I'm going to go just about to put on it, which I'm about to make a video on it, but I think it's sort of around the similar sort of number, maybe a little bit less. But if you can get anything around that sort of alloy roof racks, yeah, definitely a good way to go. And well, there's alloy and there's alloy, you know, depends on the construction of them too. But you know, if you're really after a good one, have a yarn with those guys at Tradesman Roof Racks, because they are fantastic. The roof racks they're making down there, all Aussie made stuff. So that's a good one to have a look at. Jack, yeah, is the rack getting overhaul as well? Well, it's a massive overhaul, because that one I've got on is going to come off, and there's a whole new design going to come on. It's all through Tradesman Roof Racks, guys I'm with down there. So yeah, brand new design going to go on it. We'll get that finished very, very shortly. Steve, Clean Up Australia, Australia bags, they're always so good to get on to. Negs, G Patrol, need your advice on a roll cage protection for a G Patrol. Are they worth it compared to the weight? Well, geez, that's a big one, because I certainly don't have any roll cages in mine, and certainly they'd weigh up. But what sort of full driving are you going to go doing where you're going to, you know, firstly warrant having a roll cage in your full drive as opposed to the big one? So you're obviously doing some fairly decent sort of nasty sort of challenging stuff if you're thinking about chucking a roll cage in. But yeah, there'd be a fair bit of weight in there, so I probably can't give you sort of much sort of advice on that one, mate. But yeah, I certainly haven't got one and not needing one at this stage. Stuart, g'day, mate. How you going there, mate? Thanks for coming in tonight. Stuart, Southern Fall before. How are you, mate? Did you get a cover for the exposed swing away void and pivot stud? Yeah, I have. Got a little rubber boot that slides on the top of that. Stop it rusting. So yeah, well worth getting those too. If you're gonna take one of those tyres off or one of those swing aways off, just left with the stub axle that's sort of sticking up there, make sure you do get a cover on it and stop it rusting. So when you go and put your swing away back on, she's not gonna be all rusted up. Quarry 44. I removed the ropes, more headroom. ROPS, I'm assuming that's ropes, more headroom. Not sure, quite sure what that one is, but I'm sure we'll work that as we go forward. Tracy, how you going? You doing any guided trips planned for next year? I'm not doing. I've been asked a fair bit of this just sort of recently, actually, about doing some trips and things. I'm not doing any tag along tours anymore. I was running those sort of a few years ago and got out of those, so I'm not doing the tag along tours as much anymore. So that's pretty much sort of where we're at with that. But right, well, yeah, we might wrap this one up. It's been, great having a yarn with you guys. And the other thing I probably just want to throw in there, just think about with every accessory you chuck on it, every dollar of accessory you throw onto your full drive, just think about it. There's weight attached to that, and weight is a big one, that you need to sort of think about. So the lighter you can make the vehicle, there's so many advantages for it. With getting that weight out of it, and it's going to perform so much better, handle so much better, and drive so much better. So there's a lot for it. So certainly have a think about that going forward. Tracy, got it entitled doers yet? Jack, highly recommend the cargo nets that sit below the headline. Are very, very light and good. Yeah, look, I've seen a few vehicles, mate, with those cargo nets. They are certainly great. And I'm maybe thinking about doing something similar with that, because I got a fair bit of that, that mesh that I made the barrier with. I got a fair bit of that left, so I'm maybe thinking about doing something similar with that, and above the fridge there. I'll look at some sort of design with that. But good for putting your pillows and maybe jackets and jumpers and stuff. Just tuck it up there out of the way while you're driving around. So I might look at doing that. But those cargo nets certainly are a good thing, that's for sure. G'day, Ross. Yeah, thanks very much, Tracy. No worries. Sorry about that, about the tours, but yeah, I'm not doing those. Not doing those anymore. Okay, when the borders open, we'll head down from Queensland. Look, if you need some tips and place you want to go if you come down over Queensland from when the borders all open up, which they're pretty much going to happen very, very shortly. Yeah, give us a yell if you need some places and some advice to go. More than happy to help you out there. So there you go, guys. Look, it's been a great chat with you guys tonight. Again, chatting about the Duty Patrol's new interior, the weight loss. It's been fair. It's been a great exercise, been an experience, been a lot of learning curve, especially pulling the seats out and getting it all legal, all that sort of stuff. But all the videos are there, you know, if you want to go through those from start to finish. And it's been a fantastic process. So I'm very, very happy with it, and look forward now to just getting back out there and enjoy it and get back out of their camp again. And fair chance we'll probably run into a few guys out there, I reckon. So thanks very much, guys, there for coming in tonight. Greatly appreciate all the feedback. It's fantastic, you know, all this stuff that's going on. Great having a yarn with you guys, and some good feedback coming through there, and some great feedbacks and comments coming through the videos. Greatly appreciate it. So thanks very much, guys, and we'll come up with another topic for next week. Got a bit of an idea on that one is, but we'll see you guys next week. So have a good week and chat to you then. Thanks very much, guys. See you later on. Hooroo.